Hello, good afternoon. This is FSHG question time.
Woo!
And we have another question which it follows on from the previous time I was with you, where we were talking about synchronicities. But this is about manifestation. And how do you manifest these things to happen? First of all, this requires of you to be in tune with what you're looking at. You've got to be very clear about what you want. I can never forget a time when we were trying to get a glass vase that was going to actually match a sequence of other bowls that we had when we had our previous sanctuary. This is going back many, many years. And my then husband actually asked for, or had an idea about a vase. Well, he chopped and changed, he kept altering it, he kept changing the design of it. The only thing he managed was to maintain the colour. And eventually we always ask upstairs for the guidance on what you want. And that came back as, if you didn't keep changing your mind, you'd get what you asked for. And that's a very important process. If you are manifesting something, or you want to manifest something, and it doesn't matter what it is, that actually has to be held, but held in a different way to the way we think about it. So it's no good you just thinking about it and focusing on that, because I can guarantee, give it a week's time, think about it again, there'll be something different. Very much like doing this video. There's things that we can do and there's things that we can't do. And those processes are the same with manifestation. So what we need to recognize is, how do you hold a picture or something that you want in your head?
Yes, that's something I'd like to know, because I know that's a problem that I have. It's that thing, if I get an idea of something that I would like to manifest, but I have such an active mind and a creative mind that then my mind is creating all the different ways that it could happen.
Mm-hmm.
And so then that's actually muddying the waters.
Oh yes, and it's changing it.
Yeah.
It's changing it from the original into all the bits that you're muddying it with. And if we look at that process, it might take a few minutes and it might take some time of practice. But be aware right now of how you're thinking. Pick something that you want to achieve, and hold that in your mind. And be aware that as you're holding it in your mind, how many times things are moving in and around that thinking.
Yeah, it's all, if you just hold the image. So for example, I'm holding the image of what I want to do.
Yeah.
With the equipment that I need.
Yeah.
I haven't got what's the word? A location as such. But it's just, I can just see myself doing it.
Right.
And the periphery around the outside of that is it's busy.
Right.
Which is my mind, I think, in the background.
Yes, it is.
Yep.
It's all going on.
Mm-hmm.
Right, now change that process from being in that peripheral thinking. Take what you're holding at the moment, and now take it back into the deeper recesses of your mind. Add to it the feeling you're doing. You're making it happen.
Right, so almost that's as if, like with, I've been dreaming about this as well.
Yes.
So that's part of the happening.
Yes.
So it's recognizing, even when I'm dreaming, that's part of the happening.
Yes.
Because really what things like location and stuff like that and how it's going to happen is not important. What's important is the feeling.
Yes.
And the feeling that I have in that space, in that, for me, it's a creative space.
Right. So now you're going to add to that.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody is going to come into your life, point you in that direction, point you in the direction where that process will become a reality. I don't expect it to come real now, but you need to feel it much more in a reality setting. You don't need to look at where you do it or what the room is like or any of that. You're asking for somebody to come into your life who is going to tell you about that, tell you where to go, who to contact, what to do about it, and so on.
It's
So
like a locked door. I kept seeing a door that's locked, and they've got the key.
you've got the key.
They've got the key, and it's
But
like,
you've got the key.
oh, you just got to find the door.
Yes. You've got
And
to
they
find
point
the
you
door.
towards the door.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. Okay.
So it's like, that's why I'm saying, it's like it's synchronistic in that things follow each other and you have to follow the trail of that. This is part of that process that if you're manifesting something, you're manifesting a specific. So if we go back to, I mentioned it before, the Celestine prophecy, when we look at the adventure, he's talking about, he's had a dream about where Marjorie's gone, she's disappeared, he doesn't know where she's gone. And he sees in his dream a fence with a yellow flower growing up it. Now he's got no idea where this is, he's got no idea what's going to happen. But in the end he decides, just start going, start moving. And that's your next part. You've got to start something moving. You can't just sit still and wait for all these things to arrive. Because if you're not mobile, then it can't come to you. Because it could be anywhere.
Right. Is that something, because there's blockages that happen as well.
Yes.
And could part of that then be your subconscious?
Not necessarily.
Right.
Not necessarily. If we come back to the adventure in the Celestine prophecy, he now goes off on his motorbike with this in mind. He's going to find Marjorie.
Yeah.
He hasn't got a clue where she is. He doesn't know what's happened to her, but he's going to go. So he goes on his motorbike. He's already been told and got the information about when the things around him, nature lights up and gives some indications. So he now is driving along, he comes to a fork. As he comes to the fork, he doesn't know which way to go. So he now starts focusing on which energy, which one is energetically drawing me. And he feels that energy and he sees the energy, goes down the road, bumps into the soldiers take him to a compound. The compound is surrounded by this linked fence. He hasn't seen the flower yet, but he's seen the fence. And so the story goes on. Eventually, they're all brought out of the compound, and he sees the flower on the fence. So he knows Marjorie is there somewhere.
Yeah.
So what you're looking at is that process where you're bringing synchronicity into the manifestation program.
Right. So then sometimes if you can get a synchronization, but the next part of the manifestation may still take a while.
It may take a while. But it depends on what you're focusing on. Now, one of the big problems with manifestation for anybody who's trying to do this is other people are involved. Somewhere along the line, other people are going to be involved. You're going to have to meet the person, you're going to have to contact another person, or go to a place where there's another person, and they all have to be in the line of the synchronization. So they have to be part of that process. Now, you aren't going to put them there. They are going to be there because that's the way the universe works. Eventually, that is going to come about. But it can take much time. It can take days, weeks, months, years. And much has been written about manifesting, that you can get what you want by doing that. Another story I can give you is that a gentleman was looking at a house in a magazine, and he saw it as the perfect house for him. And it had everything that he and his family wanted. And so he focused on it. He did what I'm telling you to do. And that process, nothing happened for months on end. Eventually, they decided he'd got a change of job and they were having to move. So they were packing up the house and everything, got to the new house where they were told to go to. And his son actually pulled out what we call a wish board. And the wish board contained this photograph that he cut out of the magazine, stuck on his board and forgot about it. This took 5 years.
Yeah.
But the little boy said, "Dad, this house we're looking at now is the house on your wish board." And when they looked at it, it was the same house. But it took 5 years to get there. It took a change of job. It took a lot of other things with a lot of other people to make that happen. But at the same time, he got what he wanted.
Yeah.
Now that process is how it takes place.
And I suppose as well with the process, some manifestations will be quicker than others. So
Yes.
you can't say every manifestation is going to take a long time, because
No.
it might be almost instant.
That's right.
So it's that
That's
thing
right.
of there's excuse me, there's no rule of thumb with it.
No. There's no way of knowing who or what is going to be involved in the manifestation that you're thinking of or you're focusing on. So that process, shall we say, is in the lap of the gods. But it's still a process that is universal. And when you work with it, and you have patience,
Excuse me.
you have patience with it, that works and it starts to take place.
Right.
One thing I want to bring in, because it is a very, very important process. You're asking the universe to actually give you what you want. Now, at this time, you would say, "But I know that's what I want." And you'd be very adamant and very truthful about it. If it takes time, you might lose that want for it. Or like another particular incident where these things have been written up on in books and things. The young girl wanted to move out of the city, and she didn't want to work in the city anymore, but she wanted to take all her work into a place that was just for her and in a lovely environment. She thought of a castle. Why a castle, who knows? But she thought of a castle. And she began to manifest it. Eventually, she left that job and she got a chance of another job. And she walked in, there was the castle. And there was her dream come true. However, some months later, she was a bit sick of this castle because it was very big, lots of brooms, lots of cleaning, everything to do with it. But there was no people. She had no people around her, and she was used to having people in the city. So she decided she didn't want it anymore. So she just told the universe, sorry, I made a mistake. I don't want a castle. That changed it, but she got another idea and she moved on.
Mm-hmm.
There are always opportunities to change something. When you decide, oh, it's not what I wanted, it's not working out the way I wanted, there are always other opportunities that will come across. And one of the things with manifestations is like synchronicities. You've got to keep your eyes, your ears, and your senses and your awareness alive and kicking.
Yeah.
Because if they're not happening, if you're walking around with your metaphorical eyes shut, you're never going to find your manifested thing, whatever it is.
Mm.
So I hope that gives you a bit of an idea of how you can start with manifestation. We can always take on later on more information about that, but that would start you off.
Yep, lovely.
So I'll say goodbye to you now, and we'll talk again another time, and hopefully that will help you and you'll be able to give me some feedback. And don't forget to log on to FSHG so that she can actually help you.